podcast and let's cover the fights that happened this weekend. Kind of went like I was expecting. What did you think about the card in France?
Well, the fans in France are fanatics at the present time. I mean, very
Right.
emotional. It looks like they haven't been out in a long time to get to watch fights, enjoying the hell out of it. It was probably one of those type of Connor-ish, type of Connor-esque, I guess, the type of crowds. They're all vocal, and almost anything anybody from France over there was echoed all throughout the whole arena. It was pretty cool.
Ankle kick, yeah. Just everybody was going off. Well, they it's like, remember, it was outlawed in France like MMA was. So then
right.
they got
it was basically MMA was outlawed, but it was mostly due to the judo federation people. France is known for great judo, and what they didn't want is they didn't want MMA coming into their circle. So people that were in charge over there were basically judo type guys that they were banning ever coming there. As time went on, of course, little by little they got their hold on the MMA scene. They got their hold released somewhat, so therefore it was able to go there. But for a while there it was judo run based. They didn't want MMA there because they for whatever reason they feared it. But realistically, they shouldn't have. They should realize that it just benefits the judo programs.
Yeah, well, your judo's not that commercial, anyways. It's big in a small circle. So what's it going to hurt you? Nothing. It's not going to take away from what you already have. I think people get that illusion. But yeah, we saw Thiago Moises, who was thinking, oh yeah, Islam better watch out. Of course, Islam's always going to watch out for his next fight, but he was kind of talking tough, and boy, did he get smoked by that French gentleman. What did you think about that fight? The special forces guy.
I don't know how to pronounce his name. How do you pronounce his name? He's like, his name?
I'm getting it for you. Let's just say that he's the soldier of fortune guy. I'll find
well,
it.
He's the soldier of, I don't know. He's the God of War, I guess. That guy.
I think that was his nickname, God of War.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That guy, he had it. You name it, he had it. Strikes, he had it. Ground, had it. Game plan, he had it. He had it all. He had the whole MMA dialed in. Every aspect of what an MMA fighter is supposed to be, he had it. And
Benoit St. Denis, that's his name.
Yeah. He's the real deal, man. You can't do that to a high level guy like Moises and not be in the mix. The next fight should be top 5 guy for him for sure.
Yeah,
he's worthy of top 5 guy.
That guy's a beast, man. Must be the special forces, and I don't know, maybe the training's getting better in France. It's like you need a training program in certain countries. Another big fight was Volkan Ozdemir versus Bogdan Guskov. And Bogdan Guskov, I mean, Ozdemir's been running through people in the past, and then he went on a skid for a second, but then he's kind of back on track again. Did that go as you thought? I mean, I didn't know anything about Bogdan.
I didn't know what to expect. I just knew that Volkan had a new training camp that he's been with the last 2 years that really kind of revived him somewhat. And apparently it's worked because he looked good, man. He heard a guy that had over 100 amateur boxing matches, who's been steamrolling everybody with strikes, and here he is. He hurts the guy with the very thing that the other guys used to hurting people with, strikes. And Volkan looked good, man. He looked really, really good. He's becoming a contender. Definitely becoming a contender again. Let's see what happens, but he looked very impressive. And against another very impressive newcomer, and maybe that has a lot to do with it too, because your first fight in the UFC, it's a rough one. It's a rough one no matter how good you are. The spotlight, being in the UFC, it's a big deal for a lot of people, and they can't handle it like they thought they could, because when they get out there, they realize, oh shit, here I am. It's a tough thing. It's a tough thing for fighters to go from where you're at to all of a sudden you're in the big leagues, I guess. It's a big jump up. A lot of people don't realize that, but I know because I've experienced that with some of my fighters, and it's a big deal.
Have you had that yourself, where you walked in where the crowd was behind the other guy?
No, that's not what I'm referring to, but yeah, of course, everybody's had that at some point. You've had the people rooting for the other guy. That's not the big jump. I'm talking about just the big feel, the big
show,
game feel, big show feel, and that's the UFC gives you that a lot of the times when you're in another show. Then you go into the UFC, you're not realizing it's a different level, man, and it is a different level. And I'm not saying that's the case here, but I'm saying it can be potentially could be the case, because he, the person that lost to Volkan was impressive himself. But maybe just too tough a first opponent, maybe.
Could be. I mean, that guy, like, there was a time where Volkan was running for contendership. He was cruising. They were calling him No Time. Remember, he was just knocking guys out back to back, and then somebody stopped him. That kind of messed him up for a year or two.
Well, it was us. It was DC.
DC.
He got a title shot out of that.
He actually did, yeah.
People, and then he came to us, and basically, we got him was because we used wrestling on him. It was very easy to see how we were going to beat him. It was a simple fight for us.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fights that for DC were so easy because there's no way in hell they could stop DC, and it's wrestling. It's like wrestling, the beast, wrestling, just like, defend the title against him because he had no wrestling, and DC was going to get surgery, but no problem. Wrestling, go.
Just go back to to the well.
Yeah, it's easy. You're wrestling,
Well, so then you had Rose Namajunas. It was going to, I think she went up in weight to fight Manon Fiorot, and that was interesting. Manon looked a lot bigger than her, but she also looked great. What did you think about that fight right there?
I think a lot of people are not giving Rose the credit she deserves, and I think they're not making a big enough issue of what Rose had to deal with, and it's kind of making the other girl look to be that much of a beast when it was
right.
The problem wasn't so much the other girl being that good; she is that good. The problem is Rose's finger. Did you see her finger?
Yeah, that's right. That broken finger
was like that, dude. It was worse than that. It was like you couldn't do nothing with the pinky. It was so jacked up. And so now here you got a fighter. This one got one hand. Okay.
One-handed fight.
She repeatedly punch with that one hand. Boom. She really couldn't do nothing, couldn't grapple. Really, I mean, it was a one-handed kickboxer versus a two-handed kickboxer that was really, really good. So Rose was at a big
disadvantage,
by far. And she did really well. I mean, considering, and the other girl, I'd like to see a fight with Rose with both, hands versus what she had, because she came in on takedowns and she had a dead to right, but then she let him go. Well, I didn't know why, but I know why now. It's like she really couldn't get a hold of it. It's like too difficult, and so no one's focusing enough that, how Rose, everybody's talking about, she was too big, she was too this. Well, yeah, okay. She was bigger, no doubt. But it was more Rose not being able to use her full arsenal of weapons than it was the actual, I can't deal with the weight, size. That wasn't it.
I agree.
I can't deal with what happened to her finger. The fucking finger broken to all hell, and you're trying to go out there against a world-class fighter with one hand. Right. I mean, I'd like to see anybody try boxing, a 6-round, boxing a world champion match against a world champion caliber fighter, and you only got one hand. And that fighter knows you only got one hand. Now what? How many times do you ever see that where the guys, they don't rarely ever win? Hardly any time when a person has got that kind of disability going against them. It's a very difficult road to jump on. So more people are focused on Rose's size, this and that, how good the other girl looks, which in fact, we know the other girl's really good. We also know the other girl looked good. That's a fact. But we don't acknowledge that Rose was disadvantaged by that broken pinky.
That's true. It was one of those true metaphoric, I'll fight you with the hand behind my back. I mean, literally, there's no, you can't.
Yeah, and really, I fight you with the hand behind my back, but I won't beat you.
I mean, I'm taking the challenge. If I had to defend myself, I'd feel very awkward and weird and probably like, oh, crap. So, yeah, that's tough. I mean, just a self-protection, I'd be thinking about the pinky the whole time. I would. A fighter is better trained than me. I'm not a fighter, so.
And the French girl, you can rest assured she's probably going to go title fight after that one. She should get the title fight next, because not her fault, and she did her job. She looked great, she really did. But I'm just saying, not enough emphasis is put on Rose is disadvantaged versus everybody's putting the size as a factor. Rose couldn't do it because of the size. Well, give Rose 2 good working hands and let's see what she can do.
I think you're right. It could go the other way. You're totally right, because I mean, she's stuck in there. She didn't get smoked even with one hand. So
she didn't.
That tells us a lot.
That tells you a lot. Look, man, she won one round into the judge's eyes. She won one round into the judge's eyes with a broken hand. She won one round. So that tells you how good Rose is, in my opinion. So put 2 good hands on her and let's see what happens. I'm not saying she would win. I don't know. I'm just saying one thing I do know is I said, what the hell's wrong with her? She's not throwing that hand. Nobody focused on her hand being that jacked up. They mentioned it, but they didn't focus on what she couldn't do. She couldn't wrestle. She couldn't throw it. I mean, you can see how she was switching up stances so she can throw that hand repeatedly over and over. Try different ways of throwing that, and she did a great job. And again, someone might go, well, you're not giving enough credit to the other girl. No, the other girl's no. She deserves the next title shot. I'm just saying Rose needs to be given credit too, because she fought a very, 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 very tough game fighter that she couldn't come fully prepared in because she broke her hand in the very first round.
I totally agree with you. I was like, oh, wait a second. Yeah, you're right. Because I remember the first round, she walked to the corner. She goes, I broke my finger. I heard it. And I had my volume turned up. The last fight was Gane versus Spivak, which probably went as you could have predicted. I mean, Gane's pretty dominant, except when it comes to John Jones. And he looked phenomenal. And I don't know, what did that go as you expected? I mean, yeah, you told me before you watched it. You already know what happened, pretty much, right?
Well, Gane is gotten better at the takedown defense. I mean, the striking, he's phenomenal. Everybody knew that. So the longer it stays stand up, the more he's going to put it on you. So if you can't take him down, you're in trouble. I mean, everybody that's gone with him has been in trouble. The only person that might not be in trouble in the long run, the stand up, might be John Jones. But again, John Jones was too smart for that. John Jones took the easy route. Just took him down and finished him, because that's what John Jones does. Figures out the easiest road to victory, which is what a great champion does, and that's why John Jones is a great champion, because he'd rather go the easy route than make it a exciting fight for the fans. John Jones makes it an easier fight for him and try to be exciting at the same time. But Cyril, he's a real deal, man, and he's only getting better. He's up to 31 years old, right? So he's still got youth on his side, and let's see what happens, because I don't know how long John Jones is going to stay in the limelight, and staying champion. He may not want to stay around as long as he's 36 now or 35. I don't know what Jones is, 36 to 35.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, he's kind of like close to retirement time, but he could stay there till he's 40 and still keep rocking. But I don't know.
He can.
He's kind of hinting at it. I mean, he could go out on top like Habib did, pretty much.
Pretty much. I mean, yeah, 100%. Pretty much. I mean,
who's there to threaten him with? Who's there to clean him up on his way out the door? Kind of like Tito Ortiz getting served up before he left.
I don't see anybody in Jones's way. If Jones wants to stay there, he'll stay. If he wants to leave, he'll leave. It's up to him. But he's in the top of the food chart when it comes to the heavyweight division and the light heavyweight division. If he chose to go back down, which he never will, because he'll do it the correct way. He'll need a couple of years to get down to weight properly. He doesn't leave any chance for error. That's how much of a winner he is and what he'll sacrifice to win. Perfect example of that is if the backup to fighting on this one here, Sergey, right? Sergey is tapped in to come in for, let's say, Miocic is injured and Sergey comes in. Jones isn't going to fight him. Not going to happen.
Right.
Not going to happen. But if John Jones gets hurt, I guarantee you Miocic will fight Sergey, but not Jones. Jones won't do it. That's just the way he is. He wants to prepare for the individual that he fights, which when you look at it like that, it's kind of like a dangerous thing to have a fighter like that, but you want to hope that it goes through, because your whole promotion gets destroyed based on that one fight. Those two guys going at it, something happens to the fighter, you got no backup.
That's true. So you got any fights coming out of AKA this week or a couple of weeks? You get San Diego with Usman. I know that. Yeah,
and got Daniel Allen in the Contenders on September 19th, I believe. In the Contenders. See where he's going to go. And other than that, it's Usman and Amaru. Another of his teammates is fighting in the night. Let's see who else I got. Romero Cotton. Romero Cotton's fighting with Usman on the October 7th in San Diego show. That's pretty much it.
Wow, that'll be good. That'll be a good show for you.
Yeah. And after that, of course, is Islam's fight with Oliveira, but that's October 21st.
Busy time of the year for you. So next week we get this new fight coming up: Israel Adesanya, Sean Strickland. Maybe cover the top 3 fights and wrap around. So this guy came to your gym. Manel Kape versus Felipe Dos Santos. Felipe Dos Santos is 7-0, and Manel is 18-6. What do you think about this fight right here at flyweight?
I don't know about the other guy. Manel's on a roll. Manel is, he had a little bit of a tough time coming into the UFC, but he's in the stride now. So Manel's super talented. He's super talented. I wish him the best, and obviously I never go against people that I know or people that I meet. And Manel I definitely know and met. I'm hoping Manel pulls it off. But that's just the way it is. But I don't know anything about the other guy.
Is he fighting out of Mike Swick's gym, Manel?
Used to, yeah, AK Thailand, yeah. Not now. No, he's out of Vegas, somewhere out of Vegas.
The next fight's another guy you know, Tai Tuivasa versus Alexander Volkov. That should be an interesting stand and bang right there. The thickness versus the reach.
Yeah. The Tai he's in for a fight.
Yeah.
Volkov knows how to use his reach against strikers really, really well. That's a tough fight for Tai because he's going to have to come in and catch Volkov, which he can. Tai's got the power. And
he's got the power.
But he also stays outside too long. Volkov's going to chip him apart. He's really good at chopping you down, and from the distance, Volkov is. So that's a very interesting long-range fight for Volkov, in close for Tai. So hopefully Tai can get inside and do the work he needs to, because he's going to need to get inside.
Who keeps the distance or who closes the distance? That's the
pretty much. That's how that fight's going to go. Yeah.
And
I think anyways, they always end up different, but that's what I think.
Yeah. Israel Adesanya versus Sean Strickland. I know who you probably favor in this one. I'm guessing Israel. Am I right?
Yeah, of course. He's the man. And Israel is, he's one of the greatest, kickboxers that ever entered the field of MMA, and he's on track to be one of the greatest middleweights of all time, one of the great ones of all time too. So he's right up there. Now, if he retired now, he's right up there with all the greats. He's fighting the guy in Sean Strickland that basically stand up to his forte, how he wins. And unfortunately for him, he's meeting another striker that's has 80 plus more pro fights than he does, and just stand up. So Izzy's going to be a very tough fight for Sean, but not saying Sean can't do it, because he could clip you. He's good enough to do that. I just don't. I see kind of like what happened to him with Alex Pereira, when Pereira just got Sean, same thing. So I kind of look at it that probably more likely is what's going to happen. If Sean doesn't catch, Adesanya, somehow it's going to be one of those, the fight goes on longer, the worse it's going to get for Sean because of the striking that Adesanya has. Unless Sean takes him down, then that we could see a whole different ballgame. And I don't know. I don't know if Sean will take him down, even if he could. I don't know if he will. I don't know, because he likes stand-up and he's fucking good at it. So, what are you going to say? He's really, really good stand-up. But now you're fighting a guy that's another level in the stand-up. And he can not only use hands, he can use elbows, knees, and kick. And Sean isn't proficient with all, 8 limbs like Adesanya. Adesanya uses them all. Sean can't. Sean's very, very good at boxing. Very, very good. But he doesn't have kicks. He doesn't work knees properly. He doesn't work elbows the way Adesanya. So big disadvantage in my opinion, And so, yeah.
Adesanya is the octopus, and he's 3 inches taller than Sean.
Yep.
So he's got the reach and the speed, and knows how to use the reach. Deadly times. I mean, you already went up against Pereira, and this is the guy that got beat but also beat him. So, and who's beat everybody else.
Yeah, and then you can, Sean's going to be in the mix. He's definitely the underdog, but that's just what I see. I'm not saying he can't win, because he definitely can. It's tougher for him. He's got less ways to win. In other words, where Adesanya has many more ways of winning.
That's the safe money, pretty much. I would agree with you on that one.